Hello, Power Achievers, Goal Achievement Strategist and Business Coach Pat Council here. And I'm going to talk about how your success is beyond your barriers. It's beyond any obstacles that you encounter. Now, I'll give you my caveat right up front. The caveat that I want to give you right up front is that your success is beyond any barriers or obstacles that you are faced with, provided you are operating within your God-given talents. You're doing what you're called to do with your life. Yesterday, I talked a lot about what you could do instead of worrying. And I think this is going to add to that, and it's going to help you get beyond this point where you are worried or thinking that things won't work out. When we worry about not having enough, we're focused on the wrong things. So usually if there are barriers and there are obstacles, that's an indication that you are focused on the wrong things. So what I want to share with you is what you can do to get beyond those barriers and how you want to look at what you're going through, not just now, but at any given time on your goal achievement journey. Here's the thing, when it comes to achieving better health, more wealth, and even having those empowering relationships with friends and family, and intimate relationships, or if you have a spouse, with your spouse, or, whomever you consider to be your friend. And so when we talk about improving or choosing the best kinds of relationships, or having more wealth in our life, or having that better health, you know what? It all boils down to making a decision. You have to make a decision that, you know what, come what may, I'm going to have the best life possible. And a lot of times we have to go through some things. We have to learn some things. Well, I'll just speak for myself. I've had to learn some things throughout my life, some things that I didn't learn when I was growing up. And so trial and error, that the trial and errors that you encounter in life, believe me, it's going to teach you some things, provided you take the time to note the lessons so that you can move forward and move to that next level. Because no matter who you are built by design to win. And we think that when it comes to winning, that it's supposed to be something that just kind of happens, that we wake up one day and all of a sudden we're winning in every single area. Now, can that happen? Yeah, it could, but not before you go through a few things. That's part of the joy of winning, is being able to deal with any obstacles and get beyond those obstacles. So when we're headed for success, a lot of times we have to understand that success is beyond the barriers. So that means that when you encounter obstacles, or when you see like this big wall, which could be a barrier, and I mean that figuratively, and you say, okay, I don't know if this is for me. And you feel like you're almost there, but all of a sudden, all of these barriers start to pop up. Listen, your success is just beyond that. So you have to keep going. So what do you do, or what does all this entail? First of all, sometimes when we encounter a barrier, it seems like something or someone is trying to stop us. And you know what? I have to say this before I go any farther. Those barriers could also happen in the very beginning of you accepting or stepping into your calling. So it can happen at the beginning. It can happen in the middle when it seems like things are thriving. And yes, it can happen towards the end when you're about to get the big prize. So we're all different. But the thing I want you guys to consider or remember is that you have to make up in your mind that you are going to win. So what does that mean? The first thing it means is don't settle. And in other words, people will go a certain distance. They work towards the goal and they go, well, I set a goal that was much higher than where I am, but I'm satisfied. This is where I'm going to stop. This is where I'm going to stay. One of the things I always like to say to people is, listen, be grateful, but never be satisfied. Okay. And never being satisfied means you never settle. You never say, well, you know what? This is it. I've got mine. Understand this, whatever it is you're doing in your life, it's not just about you serving you. So, sometimes it's for you to serve family. It's for you to serve, friends. It's for you to serve people you don't even know, and strangers perhaps that you encounter. But either way, if you find or you think in your mind that you're settling, and how do you know you're settling? You know this because you find yourself saying, well, I should have gone a little bit farther, or I should have done a little bit more, or I could have done a little bit more, but I decided this was enough. Listen, don't settle. So in order to get beyond a barrier or to get to that success, don't settle. Once you make up your mind that you're not going to settle, then all of a sudden the barrier does not seem so big. You're capable of doing a lot more. The other thing is, don't let circumstances stop you from doing what you've been called to do. This is one of the methods that we sometimes use in order to not follow through on our calling. We allow fear to cause us to make excuses. So in other words, we'll say, well, if I didn't have to take care of my kids and my wife, if you're, a man and you're married, I could have gone a lot farther, or I could do a lot more, but I had to sacrifice for them. Now, don't get me wrong. I understand there are sacrifices to be made when you have a family, especially, young children. But I've seen people, and this is a true story, I've seen people who were married, their kids were grown, and they're still taking care of their kids and using their family as an excuse not to follow through on their calling. So don't let your circumstances, or don't use your circumstances as an excuse. Because if you're called to it, listen, if God gave you that talent, if he gave you that gift so that you can follow through and carry out walk along a certain path and carry it out, make no mistake about it. If God brings you to it, he'll bring you through it. So you have to really kind of do some soul searching and listen to your spirit and decide, okay, how can I do this thing? Because this is what I'm called to do. Okay, so don't let circumstances stop you. You want to think about barriers that you're encountering. If right now it's early in the game and you're working on achieving your goals, one of the things that you also want to think about is, wait a minute, what is stopping me, or why am I stalling? Sometimes we procrastinate. So here's what I want to suggest to you also, is that you want to make every day count. Even on your day of rest. Okay, because I don't believe that we should work 7 days a week. I figure 6 days was good enough for God and he rested. 6 days is good enough for me and I can rest. But the thing about this is, on your day of rest, while you are resting, you can meditate, you can pray, and you can listen to hear what God is saying. This is where your strength is going to come from. So I know of people, because as a business coach, I get the opportunity to coach a lot of people, and I see them working. And they're talking about the fact that they are so super busy and all of the things that they're doing. And don't get me wrong, I'm a busy person too. But I also understand that in order for me, if any obstacle pops up in my life, I think it's better if I carry that power that God has put in me to get me through it than to try and work 7 days a week to do it in my own might. Because usually all it's going to do is make me more frustrated, and it's going to make me tired. So make every day count. And even on your day of rest, and this is the day that you are resting or you're spending time with family, you still want to take some time to meditate, listen, pray, and listen, write down whatever messages are coming through, whatever you hear. You want to take the time to write it down. Now, here's another perspective when it comes to getting beyond a barrier, recognizing that your success is just beyond the barrier, because we seem to think, again, that it's going to be easy. Whenever you set a new goal, something you've never done before in your life, I don't know why people think that they're supposed to wake up again and there it is. It's all going to just fall into place for them. There is a learning curve in every new thing that we do. Sometimes the curve is short. Sometimes that curve is really curvy, really high, really long. But either way, if it is part of your destiny, a part of your calling for you to carry out a certain purpose, you're going to be able to get beyond that obstacle. So why am I saying all of that? I'm saying that to say, whenever you do encounter an obstacle, when you see this big barrier that appears to be insurmountable, that appears to be a barrier that you cannot overcome, then you want to look at the obstacle itself. Look at the obstacle that you're encountering. Sometimes we have to just face what we consider to be a tremendous difficulty. We have to look it right in the face and say, you know what? I'm going to win. I'm going to get beyond this. But you have to look at it. You have to have an understanding of what this barrier is. What is this all about? Because the success is on the opposite side. So you have to understand what's going on and what's happening to you. Because sometimes these obstacles and delays, there are a couple of reasons why this can happen. One, there's a plan to stop you because you're about to deliver something great to this world. You're about to do something that's going to help a lot of other people. You're about to do something that might help one person, but that person can grow up and do something amazing for so many others. So you don't really know. So it could be something that's trying to stop you. But the other thing is you can look at that obstacle and see it for what it is. Sometimes obstacles are designed to teach us some things. I mean, this is a short podcast today. And it will be shorter than my normal podcast episodes, I think. So far, so good. But this is a short podcast and today. But if I had time and I list all the obstacles that I've been through in my life, all of the things where I had to learn what I didn't know, some things that I wasn't taught. And you know what? It's good because it made me wiser. It made me stronger. And does it mean I'm all wise and all knowing? Absolutely not. Still learning, still growing, and still discovering new things. But that's the exciting part about life. So I want you to look at that obstacle as your opportunity to learn something new. Obstacles can reveal a lot of things to you. It can show you where, let's say, your potential or not potential, but your actual weaknesses are. There's nothing wrong with having weaknesses, but the object of the game or the reason the weakness is being revealed to you is so that you can either become stronger in that area, become smarter in that area, take certain actions in that area, or so that you will know that I need to add certain people to my team because they're stronger in these areas. And I need this kind of strength. I need to be connected to this strength. The beautiful thing about obstacles is they let you know that you don't need to do everything alone. And so you can become more encouraged by knowing that you're not alone with the challenge that you're facing. So whether you're facing a challenge or whether this challenge is down the road, if it ever happens, then you need to seek help. Seek someone who's either been there, done that. Talk to someone that you trust who can provide you with the best answers. Now, we can talk to people that we trust who don't know. All they can do is say, oh, you poor thing, I'm sorry to hear that. And that's fine too. Sometimes it's nice to have someone say something like that to you. But there are other times when you need some actual, real, tangible, actionable advice that you can use that's going to allow you to continue to move forward. But you get to decide that. Here's the other thing, about barriers. The bigger the barrier, it seems like everything is coming against you or someone's trying to stop you. Or in some cases, you might be your own barrier because you're stopping yourself by knowing what you need to do to get to where it is you want to be, and you're simply not doing it. So the bigger the obstacle, well, the greater the reward, though. Because when you start to, as I often say on this podcast, when you note the lesson, when you go, oh, that's the lesson I'm supposed to learn. These are the secrets to unlock this door that will allow me to go through this barrier with a lot more ease to get to the other side, because that's where your success is. Your success is beyond your barriers. And so you want to see them obstacles and barriers for what they really are. Okay, because if it's big, you've got a big reward coming. But you know what happens? A lot of people don't even get the big reward. You know why? Because they quit. They give up. Their mindset is not, they haven't allowed their mindset to adjust to the fact that they deserve to have more, that they deserve to have something bigger, that they deserve to have a life that's full of flow. So haven't taken a moment to see the positive side of their life. They look at the obstacle head on. It's not about the obstacle. It's about what's on the other side. So whatever obstacles you're going to face this year, or you may already be facing them early in the game. I've talked to a few people who one said, you know what? I set this big goal. I was really excited. And the first thing, and I'm quoting them, they say, it's like someone found the biggest rock they could find, the biggest boulder, and they just put it right in front of me to stop me dead in my tracks. And I said, well, you do understand that because it's a boulder, well, that means it's kind of round. You do know you can go around it. Okay. Or if not, get you some tools and start climbing it and go over it. So the point I was trying to make to them, it might be a big boulder. It might seem like this big barrier that's stopping you. But when you get to the other side, oh, there's a bigger, better, greater reward. So you want to think about that. And finally, when all else fails, there's a time when we have to push harder. You have to do more. You have to expand your thinking. You have to expand your mind to think that, wow, this is a huge obstacle, but my thought process is bigger. I'm smarter. I can really accomplish this goal. You have to see the goal. Remember, if you are aligned with your God-given purpose, I promise you, God will bring you through it. And He will give you the vision so that you can know how to expand. Now, this is not something where I'm just kind of being all preachy and coming with something that sounds mystical. No, this is very real. Believe me, I've encountered some huge obstacles in my life, and I can tell you, some of them I didn't want to face, but I had to face it out of necessity, and my life became so much better once I got beyond it. And some of them I recognized, wow, this is a big boulder. I'm ready. Let's do this thing. And I still got beyond it. Still bigger reward. The rewards get bigger, you guys. So I want you to think about 2025 and say, you know what? This is the year I'm going to thrive, and I'm not going to let anything stop me. So no matter what, remember that your success is beyond your barriers, any barrier. And I have to say this because I said this to someone earlier today. Actually, I found myself saying this a few times today. It doesn't matter what your gender is. It doesn't matter what your color is. It doesn't matter what side of the tracks you were raised on. None of this matters, you guys. What matters is that you make the decision that you're going to win, the decisions that you're going to have, the wealth that you desire. It is actually our divine right to have a wealthy lifestyle. And when you understand what wealth is, then you'll say, wow, I never looked at it like that. People think that wealth is about you being like this multimillionaire or this multi-billionaire. That's only a small piece of wealth. And I'm going to talk about this in another podcast because I want people to understand what wealth truly is. Wealth includes kind of all of the above, the health, the friendships, the connections, all of the above. Okay. There are some people that can have a wealthy lifestyle and they haven't made their first $1 million yet, but they have a life of peace. They have a life of excitement. They have the things that they desire to have. So as I wrap up, you say, well, okay, all this sounds great, but what do I do with all of this? Well, in our show notes, we have a lot of things that are coming up because 2025 is your year to thrive. And one of the best things and most important things that you can do for yourself is plan to win. And so if you're not on my email list, please make sure you're on my email list. Go to designingyourlifetoday.com. And when the box pops up, just put your information in there, or you can go to designingyourlifetoday.com/power up today. And of course, I'll have links in the show notes to some of our upcoming events. And we have a Love Yourself to Wealth event that's coming up. Now, this one is for women and it's going to be awesome. I'm not just saying it because I'm teaching it. I'm actually going to invite some people to share some stories during this event as well, so you can see how important it is. So we have some events that are coming up for women. We have events that are coming up for both men and women because I coach both. But I wanted to have some events that caters to some of the specific needs that people have mentioned to me that they have. So we have a lot of great things that are coming up. We also have Build Your Own Income that's coming up, where I'm going to share how we've done it before. We did it twice last year. It was well received. So we're going to do it again this year. Make sure you are, again, on my email list. And when you are looking for something inspirational, informational, and insightful to listen to, please check out my YouTube page. Just simply go to Pat Council Live on YouTube, or just Pat Council, and I should pop up. So with that being said, that will also be in the show notes. With that being said, that's all I have today for you guys. We're going to be back with more, and I'm planning a lot of important things, specific things, to provide you with the necessary resources that will help you thrive in 2025. With that being said, I want you guys to do life with power, because you're built by design to win. But of course, you have to plan to win. So do what it takes.